back to another episode of Head Ass Garage, and welcome back to a new car. In today's episode, we're going over my 2004 AP2 S2000. I've owned the car for roughly 11 months, coming up on a year now. Yeah, I guess this video will serve as not only an introduction to the car, but also to kind of tell you guys about what we've done to the car while I've had it, as well as some plans that we have for it in the future. So I bought this car back in February of 2020, so actually on Leap Day itself. And so far I've loved the car. Getting to know the car has been easily one of the best parts about it. So as previously mentioned, I have a 2004 Honda S2000, which was the first year of the AP2 generation. Now, the AP2 did see a slight increase in horsepower as well as displacement and torque. That is because it is a 2.2 liter. They increased it to get a little more stroke out of the motor, and that increased torque, which was much needed out of this flat plane crank 4-cylinder, which just does not make much torque. So the AP2 also has different modifications or upgrades compared to the AP1. The front bumper is slightly different. They revised the steering angle to kind of mitigate the understeer that's common with these cars. The AP1 has the famous 4-banger that everybody knows about, the one that revs to 9,000 RPM. Unfortunately, mine does not. Mine revs to 8,200 RPM, and that's to compensate for the piston velocity with the larger stroke. Yes, I sacrificed that glorious 9,000 RPM red line for only 8,200 RPM. But I did that because these motors don't eat oil. The chassis itself is more revised and has a lot more modifications that improve the daily drivability of it. So really it was 9,000 RPM and a lot of problems, or 8,200 RPM and a pretty solid motor. As I said, I've already owned the car for almost a year now, and we have done a fair share of mods. Unfortunately, none of them have been exceptionally performance oriented. Instead, we've been doing a lot of cosmetic mods, and the reason for that, it was in rough shape. It had chips in it, the clear coat was missing in more places than it existed, and really it just was completely beat. There was different colors showing through, there was a gash in it. Proud to say it was cracked all the way around. I'm proud to say Marcus and I, we both have done a lot of body work on that bumper, and it is now smooth as a baby's bottom. The paint correction could still use some work. The color is a little darker than the factory color, but it was our first time painting something. You got to give us a little bit of slack.
And we were using spray cans.
Spray cans, not actual spray guns. We redid the front bumper, repainted it all, and it looks great now. However, the fake vents that are inside of the front bumper have now been removed. We went ahead and cut them out because I have plans of turning them into functional brake ducting. Now, the problem with that is that those holes right now are channeling air behind the wheel well, and that's all trapped turbulent air that has nowhere to go. So we have to create downforce on the front end because all of that turbulent air trapped behind the wheel wells is creating lift and causing the car to be a little less stable than usual. Have some mods, another video that will be coming soon that you guys will get to see on making a splitter and some canards, just kind of improve the downforce on the front end of this car and kind of cancel the lift that's being created by those brake ducts. Granted, those brake ducts they'll have a function one day. As of right now, they aren't doing much. So we have plans for that coming, as well as another front lip. I have lost 2 front lips on this car. I have a third one sitting in my garage because they don't really like to stick to your car. When you're doing the speed limit, totally the speed limit and only the speed limit, the car came with a set of D2 coilovers, which are from Raceland, I believe, and they're a very tight coilover. It gives you tons of feedback. Every little bump on the road is translated through the suspension. That being said, it's not a perfect drive. If you can't tell by the slightly shaky video, the car is not the smoothest to drive by any means. makes for a lot of fun on these California roads, because if you hit a big enough bump, you can easily bottom this car out or even get air. However, if my mom is watching this, I would like you to know I've never gotten air in this car. It's completely safe. It stays planted on the ground 100% of the time. There's nothing to worry about, I promise. VTEC! Modifications go for the future, we also have plans to do a fender louver kit to help evacuate some of that trapped air from behind, and it just looks cool. Also, we have plans for a rear wing on the car to get the rear end a little more planted as well as the front. It is my daily driver, so we're not going to see any crazy too insane of builds, but I would be a little happy with some more power. Yeah. More power, baby. Yeah.
More power, baby. More power, baby.
Now, into the more unfortunate part of the information. The reason that I say it's so unfortunate is because this car's transmission doesn't exactly put power down the way it should. So, when I bought the car, the trans felt fine and everything, but quickly deteriorated as I owned it. It still shifts perfectly fine. As you can see, we're driving with no problems. It's mainly just that anytime you put maybe more than half of the car's torque through the transmission, it vibrates a lot. My local Honda specialist out here said that it felt like bearings to him. It will be a full transmission rebuild, but it's better than and cheaper than a brand new transmission. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily impact the actual drivability of the car. If there's something wrong with the car, that's something that needs to be then it's something that needs to be fixed. As we want to push more power out of this motor and out of this car, we're going to need a stronger transmission, or at least a healthier transmission, so that will be done. Another thing that we're going to be doing that it won't be much of a series, but we're going to be making a couple videos kind of tackling the interior of the S2000, because if you own an S2000 or have ridden in one yourself, you might be aware that these things rattle more than anything else. There is so many little clips on the interior that just with time they'll break and things rattle really bad in here, especially when you have the increased vibration that is so kindly provided by our transmission. It makes for a loud and unenjoyable cabin experience. We're gonna do a couple videos tackling some of the rattles, the first of which I can promise, because it drives me insane, are there's slight clearance between two pieces of metal, and when this interior vibrates, those things vibrate. I want to make sure that the actual chassis is ready for any power that we throw at it. Make sure that we're producing enough downforce to be able to handle the power. If you can't tell by how small this car is, it's incredibly light. The more power you throw at it, the more traction problems you're gonna have. So we're gonna get some cosmetic and some aerodynamic mods done. That way the car is ready for when we decide to, say, boost it or whatever we have planned for the future. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know if you're excited about this. Leave us a critique in the comment. Let us know how we can do better. With that being said, this was Head Ass Garage. My name is Josh.
I'm Marcus.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.